Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and today we're talking about some quality of life updates that I would personally love to see in The Sims 4 throughout 2021, because there's a lot of stuff that I think should already be in the game that would definitely help me out when I was playing, when I was creating Sims. And before we get into the main chunk of this video, I do want to preface it with a couple of points that I know are probably gonna pop up in the comment section. And the first one is, obviously, I want the team to fix bugs. For me, personally, Snowy Escape was super buggy. There's also still some texture issues on the new skin tones that I've personally noticed in my game. I know that console skin tones, I can't remember if they've done the update for that yet or if they haven't, but I know that they need fixing. I'm not saying that bugs shouldn't be fixed and these things that I'm about to share should take priority over those bugs and issues and glitches that people are seeing in their games currently. That's not what I'm getting at. I want those bugs to be fixed just as badly as you guys do. And also, I know I'm gonna get some comments that are like, but Molly, there are mods for that. Yes, there are mods that sort out some of these things, which I play with personally. Some of them I don't know exist, so I appreciate you guys pointing out the fact that there are mods, truly, because it just allows me to test out more mods, and if I have an annoyance in my game, a modder can probably fix it for me. But I want these to be like official EA releases. I feel like they should already be in the game, and I feel like they are oversights. I actually have more for Create a Sim than I do for gameplay, which is bizarre. And I have already made a packs video of stuff that I want to see throughout 2021, so that will be linked down below. So let's just hop right into it. Let's go for Create a Sim. Obviously, the first one that I'm gonna say is, if you saw my video yesterday, custom content creators are kind of already on this, but I would like to see it officially from EA themselves, and that is sliders for hair, or at the very, very least, to have an actual, like, realistic black hair, because I know that that feedback has been coming for years. The black that we currently have in the game has like a bluish hue to it. It just doesn't look super realistic, and we definitely need a better black hair replacement. But I do think that they should widen the scales on how many hair colors we have currently in the game. Applying those new sliders that we got to makeup could definitely help in the hair swatch scenario. Also, one thing that they didn't fix in the makeup and skin tones update, which kind of irritated me, I was expecting it to be fixed, or at least like a little bit more diversified, but it wasn't, like, at all. The opacity slider helped a tiny amount, but not really, and it's the fact that a lot of the makeup swatches just do not look good. They aren't really compatible with darker skin tones. We definitely need more base game swatches when it comes to makeup. This is one that I have been dying on a hill over for years, and it's they them pronouns, or also just neo pronouns. Like, being able to add customized pronouns in Create a Sim. It's the hill I'm gonna die on. I want it. I'm not gonna stop talking about it until I get it. Yes, I know it's harder in different languages because not every language has they, them, or an equivalent, but I think there are enough non-binary people in these countries and languages that they could go out and, like, just ask people, like, hey, your language is gendered, but what do you personally use? I think it's easy enough to do in 2021. Also, body hair for all genders. I am shocked that The Sims 4 still doesn't have body hair. Like, I have custom content of body hair, but then I, like, uninstall it, or, like, I'll take my mods folder out and I'm like, we don't have official body hair. Why not? And I don't think it should only be locked to male gendered Sims. I think it should be unlocked for every gender in the game. This is one that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and it's more relationships in Create a Sim, like being able to choose different relationships between Sims. It could get confusing when you go for like aunties, uncles, like cousins and stuff, but I think if they also fix the family tree, that would make it a lot easier. The family tree is useless in The Sims 4. It will just, like, randomly wipe Sims out. It just doesn't keep up with itself. It breaks after about 2 generations. It's awful. I think if you had a family tree, kind of like how you did in The Sims 3 when you created a family and you could just like drag people up to which side of the family they were on, and then all the relationships sort of sorted themselves out, because the game does have the technology to do it, but you have to go through the whole rigmarole of creating everyone and then moving them out and then creating everyone again and then moving them out. It's a long-winded way to get cousins and grandmas and granddads and all of that. And then relationships aren't the only thing that get eradicated in Create a Sim, but also outfits and like facial piercings or like makeup. Why do we still not have an option to save all of those things or lock them in place? Giving my Sims piercings is one of the banes of my life, because you have to go into every single outfit category, you have to find the same piercing again, and you have to apply it every single time. Why can we not just lock facial accessories or makeup? Why can we not do that? Why is that not a thing? It does transfer from like one everyday outfit to the next if you remember to do it at the very beginning. But I would just love to be able to save looks. I'd love to be able to save outfits. We have that like styled outfit, which, be real with me, do you ever use styled outfits? I would like to hear it, because I personally never do. So why don't they just allow you to save your own styled outfits under that portion of Create a Sim? Like an outfit that you really like, or you know you're gonna use it. I just want it. It would make my life so much easier. I would also personally love the option to freely be able to move around tattoos, or layer them at least, because like sometimes I want my Sims to have like multiple tattoos but like in the same area on their body, and sometimes like they'll override. So there's like one on the shoulder and then one at the top of the neck, but I don't think you could have both of them because they're technically both at the top of the back from what I can remember about placing those tattoos. So I find it weird how there isn't like a layered system for tattoos. I think that could be really cool, even though we don't get tattoos that often in the game anymore. And finally, this is one that I'm shocked isn't in the game as an official thing, because so many people download this mod, and it's the option to have more columns, especially after, I think it was university, was it? Where they like upgraded the minimum specs and like stopped support for some older systems. And therefore, obviously, the game takes more power to run as it's been going for a few years. So I'm surprised they haven't given us the option to have more columns in Create a Sim. If you have all of the packs, even if you don't have all the packs and you just have a few of them, only having 2 columns means that they're so long, and sometimes I just forget to use the filtering system. I don't know the Create a Sim catalog like the back of my hand. Sometimes I just want to browse through, and it's really difficult to do when you only have 2 columns. Plus, with people having higher res screens these days, also having bigger screens, I think that it's silly to not give that choice to the player. I don't think it should just be locked at 2. I think there should be a general option in the options of the game to be like, hey, do you want 3, 4, 5? Obviously, give the warning of, hey, if your screen resolution isn't this big, it could mess like a couple of things up and you might not be able to see. But people can like mess around with it and see which works with their screen resolution. I don't have that many for build and buy mode. I actually have 2 on my list for build and buy mode, and that's because I barely play in this mode. There are builders out there who are way more experienced, who probably could offer way better quality of life updates for build and buy mode. However, the first one is to clone and delete debug items. I think debug should just be looked at in general. I think it needs a better way of being organized, and it's really annoying that you can't just like copy them with the eyedrop tool. That should be a thing, or even just holding shift. It seems ridiculous that builders constantly have to like scroll through things and just like, oh, I don't know how you do it, because it would absolutely do my head in, and also multiple lot types on one lot, especially if we're going to continue getting quite big lots. I know that there was a big one up in Mount Komorebi. We also have a big one in Cats and Dogs, and unless you have like a mad mansion, like what else are you going to do with the space? I would love to be able to like add a restaurant and add a shop on the same like area, or a residential and a shop. I think this should have been done in Dine Out, to be honest, because like so many of us had people living above their like cafes and restaurants. And then gameplay. So the first point that I have is coming off the back of what we got this year, and of course we got sentiments. I feel like sentiments still need to be worked upon. There's definitely some quality of life issues that come with sentiments. I don't think they're strong enough right now. I do feel like there needs to be actual consequences and repercussions to them. I always use the example of if my sim cheats on their significant other, they can still sleep in the same bed and like they aren't mad at each other. Like they don't act as if they're angry, and even if they do, like their relationships will go down, and yet they can still sleep in the same bed, and like they can just forgive them if they apologize. And I know that sometimes that can happen, but I would love to see... It's the same old thing of like The Sims 4 needs more negativity, in my opinion, because it's pretty damn not perfect, but your Sims' lives are all like rosy and happy. I also did a poll over on my Twitter, which if you took part in, I appreciate it, but I asked whether people would just prefer the team to focus on new packs when it comes to sentiments and just like introduce them when a new pack is released, or alongside that, if they would also love the team to go back and actually work on sentiments for past packs. And everyone, pretty much everyone, there was a lot of people. The majority said that they would also love them to go back to previous packs and add sentiments for those too, which I feel like should be done. I am always like wary when I say stuff like that, because I'm like, ooh, how long is that gonna take? Like, how much time, how much effort is that going to take? Like, are they going to need dedicated team members to do that? And therefore, I don't want to take away from future content if they do need to do that. However, I do, at least for like big things, like adopting a cat or a dog, or like becoming an alien or a vampire or something along those lines, I do feel as if sentiments are needed for at least the big milestones. However, I would love to hear your thoughts about sentiments. Like, I haven't really talked about them since Snowy Escape dropped, and I would just love to hear you guys and like what you think about them, whether you think they should continue to work on them, whether you think they're not as good as you thought they would be, whether they lived up to your expectations. Leave your comments about sentiments down below, because I really, really want to hear the feedback on them. Also, another gameplay quality of life that kind of relates to Snowy Escape is just please stop giving kids activity tables. This isn't even a quality of life. This is a PSA to the Sims team. Give kids something else to do. It's the only ever new activity that we get for kids, and it's the same activity with just a different table. Another one that kind of relates to Snowy Escape. This was a big thing in Plumbella's feedback, and she hit the nail on the head with this one, so thank you, Jessie, for pointing this out. But I think that rabbit holes could actually be used well in The Sims 4, because Jessie pointed out that in Snowy Escape, in Mount Komorebi, there was a lot of areas that just did not feel alive or active. That's something about The Sims 4 that I love, is when you go to a community lot, there are Sims, there's townies, like they are bustling. Whereas you used to go to community lots in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 and they would basically be dead at some points. However, like some of the set design just takes away from that, because it's meant to look like a town square and then there's no one there, or there's actually nothing to interact with. Like there's usually like a food stall, whereas I really feel like that one town square in Mount Komorebi could have actually done something with rabbit holes. Like they could have had a ski and like snowboard hire shop, a climbing hire shop, maybe like a little restaurant where you could buy food. It's the one thing that I actually liked about Journey to Batu, and I know a lot of people didn't, because like you couldn't actually enter the cafeteria and stuff and like see inside it. However, I quite liked the option of just being able to order food and like hear the environment around it. I really want shopping for food. I think ingredients are lacking when it comes to The Sims 4, because if you grow them currently, you can get stuff discounted off your food, but one, people forget that option exists, because unless you have a sim who's like really dedicated to gardening, I feel like you're not gonna grow things, because like sims are so busy doing other stuff. And I just would really love to see like rabbit holes actually being used in The Sims 4. I feel like there's just a lot that could be done with them, potentially. I didn't really do any like pack specific quality of life, because honestly, I feel like I could do so many things. I think the Strangerville story, there should be an option to turn it off from the get-go. I think if you choose to live in Strangerville, there should just be a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to play through the Strangerville story or not? And if you choose no, then I think you should just be able to live in the world without people walking around like they're zombies, because I would get so much more use out of Strangerville if that was an option. I think NPCs should be given more life. We got a little hint of this if you have eco lifestyle. They can obviously vote on the, what are they called, the naps, and they can also like ask your sims out on dates and stuff. Like if you've started talking to them, you can get random pop-ups, and like when someone calls you like, hey, your great uncle just died and they told me to leave you some money. I want to see more of that. I think that's a quality of life update that could really help The Sims 4 out. I feel like they should even be able to like not only ask your sims out, but like maybe even like try a first kiss. And even if you got like a little pop-up, I know it kind of breaks immersion when you get pop-ups, but maybe it doesn't even need to be like a full pop-up. Maybe it just needs to be like a notification up in the top corner of the screen, but something that says like, hey, this sim is proposing to you. Would you like to say yes, or would you like to say no? Scooting on beds. This is such a random one, but I swear my sim has not scooted on a bed since like Get to Work. Some people say this still works for them, others say it doesn't work for them. So what I mean by scooting on beds is like if you have a double bed and it is against the wall, like one side of it is against the wall, your sims used to be able to like scoot over to the side that was against the wall, and then another sim could sleep next to them. And I get why it's an issue, because then if your sim like needs to go to the loo or something like that, but it could just automatically wake up the sim next to them, I feel like. But yeah, this was a thing and it doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. And I don't know if it's just broken or if they just took it out or what. It's really weird, and I think that if they did take it out, it should be added back in. If it's broken, it definitely should be fixed, because I feel like it's been broken for years now. And also it's strange to me that you can like pick a side of the bed to sleep on. You can assign a certain side of the bed, but yet it still doesn't work all of the time. And finally, when it comes to gameplay, this is probably the most annoying thing to me personally, and again, it might not seem like a big deal to a lot of you, but I love hosting events in The Sims 4. I always have, I always will. I just love getting everyone together. I absolutely love it. However, I find it so irritating, and especially if we're getting like a generations in the future or something that helps with teenagers and making them feel more alive. Why do we not have, when you're holding an event, why don't we just have a list of household relationships? Because currently in the game, it goes off one person. It goes off the one person who's hosting the party. You should just have a household inventory that all of your household knows. Like every single relationship that they have. Yes, it could be a little bloated. However, I would much prefer it. Maybe even add a search function, just in case your household do know a lot of Sims. And it doesn't even have to be like acquaintances. Like maybe they have to have like over 40% friendship or something like that. I just find it so annoying. It's one of those things that just really grinds my gears, and it stops me from throwing events because I always forget, and then I'm like, screw this, I can't be bothered, and I click out of it, and I just get people together as a group. Those are my quality of life updates. There's probably 1,000 more that I could probably think of, like, as I was playing the game, but because I've been on like holiday and I've just been enjoying my time off and I haven't really played The Sims on my break, my mind kind of was like, what else would I love to see? So I could probably follow this up with a video like next month. Let me know how you feel about the points that I mentioned, and also, is there anything that you just like already expect to be in the game and it's just like not there? Is there anything that seems so simple that just grinds your gears that it's not there and that you would love to see in a quality of life update? I would absolutely love to hear what you guys are missing from the game right now. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye!